What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be talking about how you guys can take your route running to that next level. We're going to be talking about 3 specific things that you guys need to be able to do on every single route that's going to get you as much separation as possible. So we're going to talk about being a salesman with your routes. We're going to be talking about how you guys can beat any kind of press coverage, and then how you guys can make a more sudden change of direction and sell your routes, even with the sudden change of direction. So I hope this video gives you guys some value, but also, fellas, if you guys want a 4-week on-field wide receiver training schedule, all the specific drills you need to do on the field as a wide receiver to improve your route running, press releases, catching ability, and explosiveness, check out that very first link in the description, fellas, for our 28-day on-field wide receiver workout plan. It's all the workouts you need to do broken down step-by-step into a specific booklet, and we include a 30-minute breakdown video where we talk about each drill, the reason behind each drill, and then a full-speed example of each drill. So I hope you guys can check that out. Very first link in the description. Let's get started. So first things first, we're going to talk about being a salesman on your route. So we're looking at this route here. We're going to be talking about this rocker step at the top of the break. Now, some people tough to name this route, right? Because it could be like a corner post corner. It could be more like a shake route. It could be like a wide stem with a corner. I'm not really concerned with that. What I'm more concerned with is the move at the top of the break and how you guys can sell this. So anytime I'm working a move, fellas, so this is a great example of a rocker step, right? So a rocker step is like a 2-step at the top of the break for those of you that don't know and those of you who aren't familiar with the page. So it's like if you're going to break to the outside, you want to step with your outside leg first because you're trying to sell like you're throwing that inside cut like you're running a post. You're taking a wide stem, run a post, whatever it might be, right? You run a corner post, however you want to think of it. So when I go here, it's super important to understand what the DB is going to be looking at. He's going to be looking at my hips, right? He's going to be looking at my hips, my core, that's the area he's going to be looking at. So that's what I got to sell with. He's not going to be looking at my head and my shoulders, or at least he shouldn't be. If he is, that should be easy money every single time. And he damn well isn't going to be looking at my feet. So you got to make sure that your feet are sudden, your feet are explosive. It puts you in a position to get out of the route, but you're selling with your upper half. That's what's going to get you space. So whether you're working just a regular speed cut out route, post route, corner, you got to make sure that we sell with my upper half. So you see when he goes into this rocker step, he's here, makes that first cut, and he's pushing into the second cut, right? So he's using that first step to really push, and he's like throwing his hip to the inside. You almost want to think of it, I use the basketball analogy a lot. You almost want to think of it like you're doing a crossover, right? I'm throwing my hip to the inside. I got this basketball on my left hand, and you see how much he's able to turn his entire upper half. Shoulders and his hips are committed to the inside, but his toe remains pointing forward so he can actually put himself in that position to where he can accelerate back out towards the sideline. It's the details, fellas. A lot of people think that, oh, this is way too detailed, right? Oh, you can't think about all this stuff. Well, yeah, you can't think about this stuff when you're doing it, but it's the detail work that matters. It's not about going out to the field and doing a bunch of 50 cone drills in a row where you're just out there sweating, you're not getting any value. It's the details that actually translate to on-the-field play. That's what you guys got to focus on, and that's why we're so detailed with these breakdowns. So again, make sure my shoulders and my hips go to the inside because that's where the DB's watching. Now, I can't waste any time at the top of the break. The mistake a lot of receivers will make here is that when they sell, this toe will open way up. And then so their hip opens way up. And then they're going to have this long, rounded break out of this thing, which gives this DB all the time in the world to react. You want to make sure that you try to keep your toes, it doesn't have to be directly straightforward, but that weight should be on the inside arch of your foot so you can push and so you can actually drive out of there. Because you see, when we make that cut, he's pushing because that push right there, if your feet are sudden, that push off of that cut leg creates explosion, and that explosion can turn into acceleration because you got to win the spot to here. At the end of the day, you got to get to this spot when the quarterback needs you to be there before the DB gets there. So that push, that explosion is what will accelerate you and actually get you out to that spot so you could win this race to the ball every single time. This is a perfect example of how to be a salesman with the route. So the number one thing to take your routes to that next level, you got to be a salesman with your cuts at the top of the routes. Watch it again full speed. Great job using that rocker step to get this DB to bail out of this route. So now we're going to be taking a look at this release here. The second tip to take your route running to that next level is to understand range. Okay, so what I say that a lot. I get the question a lot. Hey, what can I do if I'm a smaller receiver against a bigger physical DB, right? Or just what can I do to get off a press if it's a physical jam, right? That doesn't even have to necessarily mean that you're a small guy. And I always say range, and a lot of people don't know what I mean by that. So this is what I mean by that. So watch this thing full speed. So range is like this area right here where, and again, you got to use it sparingly because you can't use it on every single route. If you got to get into like a timing bang 8 post, this release wouldn't work, but you're running a slant route, you're running a fade route, something like this would work. So range is where that space where the DB can't get hands or he's got to lunge at you to get hands. So we're looking at Rashad Bateman here. He slides into that range and then he's able to just create a ton of separation and get back on this slant. So this is the spot that I need to get to, right? There's like a slide release. You could call it a shuffle release, or sometimes you could even do just a little hezzy slide like Devontae Adams style and really force this guy to make a decision. But that's what it comes down to, forcing this DB to make a decision. So you see when Bateman comes off here, he's sliding into a zone where this DB could do one of two things. He's either going to lunge at me to get hands, or he's got to shuffle with me and stay square. When he shuffles with me to the outside, look at all the space that I just opened up for myself to the inside, right? So we got to understand that there comes a point in every time in a DB's rep where he's got to move, right? Because like a lot of people will say, well, coach, what if I do this and he just sits to the inside and I end up running a slant right into him? Then the next time I come at him, I give him the exact same release. If he wants to sit to the inside, then I'm just going to go win a foot race to the back corner of the end zone and have this quarterback put it up quick, right? It's one of those things where we force him to move. Not every single move is just going to magically work. You have to set it up and you have to build on it, right? But that's the thing. This range right here is what will build on it. When you guys can shuffle out into open space and you guys can force this DB to make a decision. When I actually sell this route with my upper half, like I'm talking about, I take a quick little 1-2 to the outside and I really commit my shoulders and my hips. That's what can force this DB off that platform, and that's what can get me a ton of separation. The ultimate goal of a release is to move the DB off his platform as quick as possible so I could keep timing with my quarterback to the inside and get up into this route. So the second key, take your route running to that next level, is understanding range off the line of scrimmage. Don't cover yourself. You don't want to come off here, because anytime everybody loves to do this. When they got a DB right here, they'll close the gap with him, right? Which isn't necessarily wrong because they think it's more like off man. But this DB will get hands. You try to just they'll do this slide release, but they'll get too close to where the DB could get hands and the DB could shuffle with you at the same time. And that's how we lose. You got to understand the angles off the line of scrimmage. Angles are everything, because we got to force that DB. Like I said, we have to force him to make a decision. Let's watch the thing full speed one more time. Great job sliding, working that 1-2, and getting that DB to move off his platform. So now we're going to be taking a look at this route from Jerry Rice, arguably one of the best route runners of all time, right? For sure the best receiver of all time, in my opinion. And he wasn't the fastest guy on the field, right? I think it was something like he ran like a 4.6 or a 4.7 40, something crazy like that, where he's not this blazing 4.4, 4.3 guy, but you see the separation he's able to get, right? And the motor that this guy has, and that's what we can apply to our game. So the third tip, take your route running to that next level, is you got to have a sudden change of direction. Because if you have a sudden change of direction without giving the DB a ton of indicators, we can create a lot of space, right? So this is where I create that break. He's getting into this. He's running a post corner here, right? So the thing about a post corner is I got to make it look exactly like what? I got to make it look like a post. That's in the name of the route, right? It's pretty simple that we got to do that. But the thing is you don't want to give him any indicators as to when you're making this break. DB is such a hard position because why? He's playing a guessing game the whole time. Where's this DB watching? Watching hips, right? Just like what we were talking about in the very first clip. So I got to make sure as a receiver, I understand that. And the indicators that he's looking for is a speed change, a pad level raise, and a change of my stride. Those are the three things that a DB is going to be looking for, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, that makes him slow down, right? So if I'm breaking to this post right here and I break off, I want to make sure that my stride length stays the same. Number one thing you don't want to do is prep for a break, right? You don't want to break to a post and then, okay, I'm not comfortable with the break. Maybe I'm not comfortable running in stride. So what do? I start chopping my feet. That's the last thing that you want to do, because A, that'll be an indicator. B, that'll make your cut not as explosive. And if you don't have an explosive cut, you won't be able to create enough acceleration to win that race back to the ball, right? It's not about what the DB does right, fellas. It's about what we do wrong. Are they going to capitalize off of the mistakes that we make? And if we don't make any mistakes, we should win every single route, because receivers have the advantage. That's a fact. We have the advantage off the line of scrimmage, especially in man coverage, especially even in zone coverage. We always have the advantage, so we got to make sure that we capitalize on that. So again, same stride length going to the inside. When he makes that break, you see how there's really no preparation. It's 1, 2, 3. No indicator. No change with this pad level. The only thing that gets him out of there is that sudden cut. And that sudden cut is the key to all change of direction. You want to be sudden with your feet. You want to be in stride. You want to be explosive, because that gives you kind of like that mind-body connection, right? Like that sudden, you don't want to like try to be sudden. You want to just be able to pop that cut off in stride. You want to shoot your foot into the ground and don't give any indicators. If you guys can commit your hips and your shoulders, stay in stride, don't raise your pad level, and your cut cutting on a specific step, that mind-body connection will allow you to be sudden and will allow you to create energy with this to get you out of this break, right? So that's what we got to focus on. That's what we have to do as a receiver, is that I got to trust myself. I got to trust that cut at the top of the break so I can get out of this route. That's how you guys can take your route running to that next level. Make sure there are no indicators on what you're doing. Let's watch this thing full speed again one more time. Great job by Rice, breaking to the post, staying in stride, and popping this thing off right in stride. Great overall route there by Jerry Rice. All right, guys, we want to thank you for watching. I hope this video gave you guys a ton of value. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. I will get back to you as soon as possible. And again, fellas, 28-day on-field wide receiver workout plan. All the specific drills you need to do on the field. Take your route running, releases, catching ability, explosiveness, balance, all the above to the next level, specific sets, specific reps, rest periods, and we give you a video breaking down each drill with a full speed example. Hope you guys could check that out. Very first link in the description. I'll see you guys next time.